Welcome to the Nothin or Triple Show, a movie podcast that knows in space, no one can hear you scream. I'm Ian.
And I'm Christian. And it's the 40th anniversary of Alien, which is why we use that tag. Okay, so we're going to talk about the stories that you need to know about this week. And it's kind of a slow news week, so maybe this will be a short episode. Or maybe not.
I can ramble on about just about anything, so we'll still have to put in some effort to keep it concise. Who goes first? Do I talk first or do you talk first?
I don't feel like talking at all.
Poor Christian's dealing with a sinus infection, so he's going to rough it in.
Yeah. Okay, this is topical, so I'll go first.
Okay, ready for your timer?
Oh, yeah, right. Damn it, the timer.
Your reactions to the timer were just as entertaining as any content.
Okay, well, I guess I better keep this quick. So, Ridley Scott just did an interview. Ridley Scott, who's 81 years old, I think, just did an interview about making Alien 40 years ago. And
has he been knighted yet? Is he Sir Ridley?
I don't know. Stop cutting into my time.
Okay, sorry.
I'm just kidding. I would assume so, but I have no idea. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so it was this extensive piece in Variety, and they dropped in a little nugget that Ridley Scott is directing another Alien movie as a sequel to Prometheus and Alien Covenant. It's in the scripting phase apparently, but when Ridley Scott said he was going to do Alien Covenant, I think the sequel to Prometheus, people were kind of like, I don't think he'd ever done a sequel at that point, and they, he has a lot of big ideas, says a lot of things, and doesn't follow through. So people were a little bit surprised when he actually made Alien Covenant. So now that he says he's making the third one, let's hope he actually does it, because I think we need a more interesting bridge between Covenant and the original Alien movie.
Do we think? I guess we have no idea what he'll do. I'm a big fan of Prometheus.
Me too.
But
actually, I also like Alien Covenant, but I know a lot of people do.
Many Alien fans felt a little let down by Prometheus, expecting something that was more like Alien.
Yeah.
And I love Prometheus because it felt as much like an original sci-fi film from Ridley Scott as much as it was related to the Alien universe. I really appreciated the new ideas and the new story points we were getting that weren't just rehashing old plots and monsters.
Yeah, and like in Alien Covenant, the first 2/3 are pretty interesting, and then it just devolves into a typical Alien movie.
Personally, I have a lot of beef with the Alien Covenant that kind of starts at the beginning, but I mean, there was a lot to like, but in the end, I found it frustrated.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so now Disney owns Fox, and they own all the Alien properties, and I have no idea what they'll do next, but one of the things that Ridley Scott says is they're looking to evolve the franchise in interesting new directions. So maybe it'll be more like Prometheus.
Yeah.
Okay, the buzzer didn't go off. Reset it.
All right.
So I don't have to hear that awful noise.
All right. Let's see here. 3 minutes on the clock. What do I do first? Start. Christian, are you a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, and I think I'm about to sneeze. Keep going.
There's like a joke in there where you say, Schwarzenegger. It's like Gesundheit. Are you a fan of Kindergarten Cop?
Yes, of course.
Are you a fan of Stan Lee?
I know where this is going.
So, for fans of Stan Lee and Kindergarten Cop, Arnold Schwarzenegger has signed on to play the lead in an animated show that was the last project that Stan Lee was working on. It's something like Superhero Kindergartner or Kindergarten Superhero or something like this, but it's an animated series. It sounds like a cross between The Magic School Bus and Kindergarten Cop and a little bit of the X-Men, because the premise is Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a character named Captain Courage, is a retired superhero who's running a kindergarten school for gifted youngsters who are training to be superheroes. And it's an animated series for television. We don't know yet when it's coming out. Being a father of 3 young kids who are fans of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kindergarten Cop and The Magic School Bus and Stan Lee and the X-Men, of course, this sounds like something that I can tolerate in my house compared to something else.
What do your kids know about Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because most of his movies are not family friendly.
They know Kindergarten Cop, They know Jingle All the Way.
That's a terrible movie,
What else do they
as
know?
we all know.
They know him as Mr. Freeze.
Ah,
They're big fans of that.
my name is Freeze. Learn it well, for it's the chilling sound of your doom.
Yeah, I don't know how much else they've seen, but they're familiar with him
All right.
and his dominance in pop culture. At least.
I just hope that this new, it's a Netflix series, right?
I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
I
whatever.
don't think so. I think it just said TV in the story I read.
Okay, well, whatever it ends up being, I hope it doesn't take Arnold away from the Kung Fury live action movie that he signed on for.
Right.
I haven't heard any updates about that, and I really want it to happen.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything new. I just know it's Michael Fassbender and Arnold. All right.
All right.
Your turn.
Arnold's got a lot of airtime in the last 2 episodes. Okay. So there's a Twitter handle. The guy goes by the name Roger Wardell, and I'm sure it's not a real name, but his handle popped up, I don't know, at some point last year and started leaking stuff from the MCU, and then quickly disappeared. But the leaks ended up being true, and he's gotten the scoop on a bunch of other things too. So there was a rumor that came out last week that Sony wanted to put Deadpool, or in the past couple of days, that they wanted to put Deadpool, not Sony, that Marvel was going to put Deadpool in Spider-Man 3, the sequel to Spider-Man Far From Home, whenever that comes out, 2
Right.
years or whatever. Which didn't make a whole lot of sense narratively, but Spider-Man and Deadpool team up with the comics, whatever, So anyway, this guy reappeared on Twitter and said those rumors are not true, but Sony, which co-shares the Spider-Man character, desperately wants Venom to be in Spider-Man 3.
Right.
This is a problem for many reasons.
Right.
So first of all, Venom first appeared in Spider-Man 3 because the studio, Sony, forced Sam Raimi to include the character when he only wanted to have Sandman, the original Spider-Man 3. That movie did not go over particularly well. Second, they want Tom Hardy's Venom to be in Spider-Man 3, which would make Tom Hardy's solo Venom movie that came out last year canon, and that movie sucked. It was awful.
Sucked to you, but a lot of people watched it.
No, it sucked. It was terrible. Yes, a lot of people watched it, but it was objectively a bad movie. And to be fair, you can even look at whatever metric you want, Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic or something, IMDb scores. It didn't hold up anywhere near as well as the quality of even the worst Marvel universe movies.
I have a theory about that. Real quick, why that was successful. Middle schoolers, in my experience,
are
because
idiots.
I have a middle schooler who's still struggling with what's good and bad in the world, but they love this movie.
Yeah.
And I think in part because many of them were not allowed to watch Deadpool and desperately wanted to, and this was like their consolation prize. This was an irreverent Marvel movie that parents probably wouldn't have approved of, and to them it was just rebellious enough of a film for them to get that fix. And a lot of kids. I mean, the Venom character is very popular on his own in the comic books, but it was just enough of whatever it was that the kids loved this movie. Film fans, that are a little better educated probably didn't, but
well, whatever. So at the end of the day, the tone is completely off from any of the other MCU movies. I do not want that movie to be part of the MCU canon.
Yeah.
It doesn't deserve to be.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with Venom showing up, but a different version of the character.
Yeah, Sony just really wants to milk both Spider-Man and Venom on screen together.
And Sony has no idea what it's doing.
Which is why they lost or gave up the rights to Spider-Man or agreed to collaborate with Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time's up.
Interesting, but they could force the issue, so hopefully they don't. My turn. I'm sure you saw this, being that the one person that you probably love more than Arnold Schwarzenegger and The Rock is Harrison Ford. Was asked in an interview this week, who do you think should play Indiana Jones when you finally hang up the hat and the whip? Did you see this story?
Yeah, such that it is a story, but
It
yes.
is- I can't leave it out because it's an Indiana Jones story. So the
All
journalist, Craig Melvin, asked him on the Today Show, he was like, who should play Indy? And the exact quote from Harrison Ford was, "Nobody else is going to be Indiana Jones. Don't you get it? I'm Indiana Jones. When I'm done, he's done. It's easy." So it's a great sentiment because, I mean, Harrison Ford is so ingrained in Indiana Jones's character, it'd be hard to imagine anyone else. And this was a response to...
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Yeah, they are the same person. And this is a response to rumors that Chris Pratt could pick up the mantle, especially after his performance in Jurassic World, where they play similar type characters and have a similar kind of like gruff American look. And then the funny thing that he followed up on that was, this is a hell of a way to tell Chris Pine, which I'm assuming he meant Chris Pratt. And which suggests that there have been conversations that he was privy to. So maybe that
or he just heard the rumors.
Yeah, maybe so.
But you know what? So a couple of things about Chris Pratt. Years ago, when they were talking about doing a young Indiana Jones movie, right after Disney got Lucasfilm, Chris Pratt was at the airport and somebody like ambushed him and asked him on camera, and he said, "I'm not allowed to talk about that." So like maybe there have been early discussions. What I think they should do, yes, there is no other Indiana Jones. That's it. Bottom line. And it's the same thing with Han Solo. The Han Solo movie was a really fun movie, but one of the things that didn't work was somebody else trying to play the character of Han Solo. That would have been a great Star Wars movie if it was just its own story. But anyway, one interesting route they could go with the franchise, because it is super valuable and exciting, is that they could recast the Mutt Williams character that Shia LaBeouf played. So, if they fast forward 10 years or whatever in the story, which is as long as it's been since Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out, and have Chris Pratt playing an adult version of Mutt Williams and do like a Last Crusade father-son adventure, that could be a way of establishing a new character that could have his own movies. And then, Harrison Ford can do another Indiana Jones movie if he wants, or he can show up in a supporting role in the Mutt Williams.
Yeah, if
movies.
he could move into the role that Sean Connery played as his father.
Yeah, but as we know, they've gone back to square one with the script. So apparently nobody's thought of this yet.
It can go, Sean Connery in The Last Crusade was awesome. But, if you look at what was the Die Hard movie they made where it was a father-son film?
Good Day to Die Hard.
It was really bad.
Yes.
It felt like it was kind of a torch-passing thing, but it didn't work as a film, and the franchise didn't keep going. So I don't know if they're going to return to form.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, I forgot to set the timer conveniently. So
yeah, conveniently.
All right.
That's the second time you forgot to set the timer on this episode.
I only set it for you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. This one is really exciting to me, potentially. It's another Marvel rumor. We really lean heavily on Marvel and Disney stuff.
Because we're nerds.
Yeah, well, I've got one more non-Marvel thing to say. But the Black Widow movie, which hasn't even officially been announced, has started filming today, which is exciting. But David Harbour from Stranger Things and the failed Hellboy reboot is in Black Widow. And he made some comment at a comic book convention about, I don't remember what the exact quote is, but he can't wait to bring this thing into the Marvel universe. And he emphasized the word thing. So we've talked before about how Fantastic Four is on the horizon. And just in the last episode, I wrote about this Fantastic Four in the Marvel Science blog. But anyway, it's a huge franchise for them to get right. And the rumor is that he'll be playing Ben Grimm in the Black Widow movie.
Pre-transformation.
Which
is establishing his character.
Right, so he can be like a military pilot or whatever.
Right.
Establishing his character. It'd be a really I had never thought about the possibility of introducing Fantastic Four members before they become Fantastic
and
Four.
Separately.
Right.
Interesting.
And then just a little tidbit on the Black Widow movie is that apparently, while it's a prequel, it takes place between the events of Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. So it's just a couple years.
So it's not
prior.
like a distant prequel.
No, which is cool because it means that they could be doing some other sort of world building, like Fantastic Four, for example.
Cool.
Yeah.
Retroactively positioning characters for the future.
Yeah. All right. Reset that thing before it goes off.
Okay. So in an interview, Martin Scorsese said that he's a bit worried about the CGI in The Irishman. The Irishman is a long-awaited story that he's been working on with a lot of his most popular regulars. You know, it's got Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci and Al Pacino and
Harvey Keitel.
And Harvey Keitel.
Oh boy! No, false alarm.
Schwarzenegger. Anyway, I've been excited this movie. Netflix picked it up. They're still working on it, and it made me a little bit nervous that they've been taking so long, but I guess that the de-aging process is just a heavy lift, and they wanted to get that right, and that's what Gesundheit.
God.
This story is about.
Is my head still attached?
But I guess in the story, Martin Scorsese was talking about how they were struggling with the eyes. Like he was concerned about losing some of the performance, making sure it still looked like them, even though they're de-aging them. And I wonder how much of this has to do with the quality of the de-aging process, because the technology's gotten really good, assuming they're using the same tech that Disney's been using.
Yeah.
And how much of it has to do with the fact that he's known these actors since they were young.
Right.
And he sees them a little differently than the rest of us do.
Yeah.
Or at least knows them better than we do. And so he might, you know, it may be just that he's hypercritical because he knows them as young actors, and hopefully that's what it is, and not there's actually problems. And because the last thing we need is it falling apart. And
this was a
distracting
$100 million movie that has ballooned into somewhere in the $250 to $300 million range, if rumors are true. But Scorsese is also a perfectionist, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's not fair, but he has a pretty perfect eye for things, so no pun intended. Yeah, well, we might know this fall.
Yeah, it comes out this fall. I'm still excited for it. Good luck, Marty. All right, what else you got?
All right, so the trailer for The Goldfinch came out today, which was like a huge best-selling novel. I think it won the Pulitzer Prize or something.
Right, I saw this trailer.
Yeah, so I actually didn't read the book, and I decided not to read the book once I heard that the movie was coming out. It's being directed by John Crowley, who's the guy who did Brooklyn, which was nominated for Best Picture a couple of years ago. Really fantastic movie. And shot by Roger Deakins, who is the best cinematographer working today and maybe the best cinematographer ever. The cast is awesome. Ansel Elgort is the lead, so Baby Driver, and he's like really hit his stride. He stars in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story remake next. Nicole Kidman, Jeffrey Wright, who is just like one of the best actors working right now.
Yeah,
and
needs more leads.
He needs more leads. Oh, he's great in support roles. And apparently the entire premise of the new James Bond movie, if it ever comes out, is that his character, Felix Leiter, comes to a retired Bond for help. Luke Wilson is in The Goldfinch. And then Dennis O'Hare, who's a great character actor, does a lot of television. But he's somebody who sort of blossomed later in life. He's probably in his 50s or 60s. Always had decent supporting roles, but had a great run on the TV show True Blood, even though that show ended up being a total mess. And then he had a really creepy run on American Horror Story on FX. But he's a great actor, so I'm excited to see him in anything. But yeah, the trailer looks pretty cool. And supposedly it's going to be a big awards contender, or that's what they want.
Pixar revealed their first look. There's not much there, but the new Disney Pixar movie Onward, which is a story of two teenage elf brothers embark on an extraordinary quest in a van named Guinevere to discover if there is still a little magic left in the world, featuring Tom Holland, Spider-Man, as the voice of Ian Lightfoot, and Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, as the voice of Ian's older brother, Barley.
Barley?
I think it's Barley.
Huh.
Barley.
I don't know. I didn't saw the pictures, but
Onward opens in theaters March 6, 2020. So, I mean, Pixar really...
Did you get paid to say that?
I wish. I'm a big Pixar fan, and I've seen everything that they make, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big fan of both Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. We don't know much about it other than they're elves. We don't know if they're like medieval elves, I'm assuming, because their van is called Guinevere is probably not.
Medieval elves with a van?
Well, what I'm saying is like medieval mythology compared to like Christmas elves.
Oh.
Or what the Wachowski siblings make with space elves. Like those are all different kinds of elves.
Glittery Channing Tatum.
Yeah, so we don't know much yet, but we just got the first look. I didn't know this movie was coming, but I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay. My last thing is another rumor, another Disney story, which is that D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, the guys who just ran Game of Thrones into the ground, they're doing this new trilogy of movies for Star Wars, and supposedly a scriptwriter has been contracted to do a Knights of the Old Republic story.
Right.
Now, I don't know what the hell the Knights of the Old Republic are. Like, as big of a Star Wars nerd as I am, that's something that didn't really cross my radar.
Well, it's from a video game.
Oh, okay. Well, it takes place. What was it X-Wing and TIE Fighter? Remember those games where you had a joystick and you got to do like canyon runs?
Yes.
Oh, those were good. And then Shadows of the Empire with Dash Rendar on N64.
Was it the last Star Wars video game you played?
Probably. Anyway, whatever. This movie is like 1,000 years before New Hope and has to do with a lot of Jedi and Sith, and I don't know, maybe there'd be some cool lightsaber battles.
The video games were super popular. I never played them, but I was familiar with them, and I watched a lot of their cutscenes. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, 5 seconds. Stop. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't think we need the timer anymore because we're wrapping up. I was about to say that this isn't news, but I am grateful that the Game of Thrones news is finally dying down. It was like every day around like the last 2 weeks of the season finale. It was just like Game of Thrones news, and so I'm done. I'm glad that season is over. Although you're happy to invoke Game of Thrones just now for that new series.
Well, yeah, and the prequel series is coming out next year, so buckle up.
And then the last thing I have that I just wanted to mention, this is not new, and I don't know if you knew about this. This is something that apparently IMDb launched back in January, but I just stumbled upon it today. I thought it was pretty cool. But IMDb back in January launched a free streaming service called Freedive. They're able to do this because Amazon owns IMDb, but it's a movie streaming service with a lot of popular, older mostly movies that are available to stream for free on the website and on like if you have like the Amazon Kindle Fire thing, which I thought was pretty cool if you're a movie fan and you're looking for more free access, because right now it looks like everybody's starting a new streaming service and charging more and more for them. I mean, I think Netflix just upped their prices. But like on a quick glance, right now for free, you can stream Terminator, Groundhog Day, Donnie Darko, Contact, Blade Runner. Those are the ones that I'm big fans of. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's nice that those are there. So that's 6 months old news, but new to me.
Yeah, that's a good transition to what's the movie that you want to recommend for people to watch this week.
So, in the spirit of speaking of coming off of old news, the news about Avengers Endgame is finally dying down, and a lot of the retrospectives, although we're still talking about new MCU movies, but a lot of the retrospectives are dying down. But my kids, who are all big MCU fans, wanted to go back and watch the original Iron Man, which I was like, I know it's a good movie, but it had been years since I saw it. So we put it on, we watched it together, and I had forgotten how much fun I had watching that movie, especially because I knew Robert Downey Jr. was great, and I knew I had a good time watching the origin story for Iron Man, but I had forgotten how good Jeff Bridges is as Obadiah Stane. And so for that reason, if for some reason you haven't seen the first Iron Man, I don't know what you've been doing with your life, but if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch the first Iron Man, at least for just Jeff Bridges, because he can do no wrong in my book, and he was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Mine is a summer movie with vampires, and it comes back around to the Batman movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Joel Schumacher, who also directed The Lost Boys, which is from 1987. It's got the two Coreys, Jason Patrick, Kiefer Sutherland, Alex Winter.
Classic.
Yes. maybe the only other role that I recognize him from, aside from Bill and Ted. Anyway, it's a really fun movie, and I kind of want to go home and watch it right now.
Awesome. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, because there was nothing to watch. Please subscribe and tell your movie buddies about this podcast. Nothinortriple.com. Nothin or Triple on the Twitter and the Facebook and all the social media. Share, reach out, say hello.
That's it.
Tell your friends about it.
Okay. All right. See you next week.
Bye.